But tonight we're going to be talking about dream interpretation with a returning guest, Cindy McGill. She's been on the program before, and she's just fascinating with her ability to analyze dreams and talk about why we dream and why we dream the things we dream and what certain things will mean beyond just interpretation. You know, why some nights we remember our dreams, why some nights we don't. And Cindy, we'll be taking phone calls and talking about your dreams as well a little bit later in the program. But this is always a fascinating discussion, a fascinating conversation, and Cindy's a fascinating guest.
Well, Cindy is, and if I remember correctly, she sets up all the time. They do a thing every year at the Burning Man Festival.
Yeah.
But she also, she is so good. She actually interprets porn star dreams.
Yes, she goes to what is it? The adult video convention in Las Vegas.
I'm a little lost on what those dreams would even be.
I can't imagine.
I know what some of my dreams are, but I mean, if you're an actual porn star, whatever.
Right. So be prepared to call in and offer or get some guidance from Cindy about your dreams. And we all have dreams that we just wake up and we're like, what the heck? Why did I dream that? What was that about? Sometimes we dwell on them for days as we try to figure them out. Sometimes the meaning's obvious, but in many cases it helps to have somebody like Cindy kind of walk through it with you and give you a better idea of what the heck's going on in your subconscious that would make you dream that way.
Well, and I barely ever remember my dreams here and there, but I will say, like last week I had the craziest dream, and it was 1 minute I was on a hot air balloon, and then the next minute in one of the chairs, not on a hot air balloon.
I understand
that would
what
be
you're
even be a weirder type of dream. But and then all of a sudden I was in one of those little things that look like a lawnmower with the fan on the back. And the wings, those little one-seater things. People are flying around.
Like and the things you see like when they show old clips of people trying to fly back before airplanes were real.
Yeah, similar, but the ones that you see now of people actually, the one-seaters.
The ultralight thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it switched over to I was in another type of thing flying that was just wide open in the air, and I have no idea what was going on.
Wow.
I think it was telling me I was just high.
Maybe that's what it was. But all flight-related stuff.
All flight. And it was open-air flight.
That's really
Which
interesting.
makes you even wonder more. I mean, the wind's hitting your face. I don't know.
Did you have a scarf flapping in the wind and goggles on or anything?
What, chip coffee scarf?
Yeah. Did you have one
goggles?
Of those?
No, I did not. I don't know because I don't think so.
You didn't
it's not
see
like
yourself.
I could see myself.
Right.
But it was weird. It was weird.
Yeah,
I was thinking I was going to wake up in the morning, like falling out of my bed or something, or left the window open. The wind was blowing in my face all night long. Something weird like that.
Well, we'll have to ask Cindy what that means.
Yeah.
So
who knows?
So we were just talking about this before the show too, and we didn't mention it yesterday, but the reality TV world lost somebody. And,
Pawn Stars Richard Harrison, and also known as the Old Man, passed away at the age of 77. And they seem like a great bunch of people, and it's sad that he lost his battle. But I guess he lost his battle with just a long issue of Parkinson's disease that he was battling, and he'll be greatly missed. I mean, I know he was a key element on that show. He was a very important person, and he seemed like an all around great guy, a straight shooter, and it's sad to say
he was a curmudgeon. He was a bit of a curmudgeon, but that was what made him so endearing.
Some people say abrasive, but I more just straightforward.
Straight shooter. Yeah,
I
totally
prefer
like
to deal with the people who tell you exactly how it is instead of beating around the bush.
Yeah.
Because they're worried about how you're going to feel about something.
He didn't pull any punches, and he was the brunt of a lot of jokes from some of the other guys too, and he took it well. But yeah, anytime somebody that's been in the public eye for that long, and I don't even know how long Pawn Stars has been on the air, but it's been quite a while,
7-8 years or something.
Gosh, I would think even more but then again, time I don't seem to have a good grasp on it. But either way, it's been on long enough that most people have seen it and watched an episode or two, and he was a well recognized and just kind of a lovable guy, and it's a shame.
Yeah, he will be greatly missed, and our hearts go out to the entire Harrison family, and we wish you all the best.
Yeah. All right, so are we ready to talk about dreams here?
Yeah, I'm always ready to talk about dreams.
Okay, so let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll bring Cindy McGill in. We will open up the phone lines in a little bit, probably sometime during the second half hour of the program. We'll let you know when you can start calling in.
All right, and that phone number, just take it down, is 844-687-7669. Again, toll free at 844-687-7669. 888-866-7669. You're listening to Jason and JV on Beyond Reality Radio. We'll be back after this.
So you can join our conversation with Cindy McGill, Dream Interpreter. Cindy, by the way, is the author of a book called What Your Dreams Are Telling You, Unlocking Solutions While You Sleep, and her website is cindymcgill.org. Cindy, welcome back to Beyond Reality Radio. It's great to have you here again.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be back with you guys.
Now, welcome back to the show.
So what have you been up to since you were on the program last? It's been a little while.
Oh, my goodness, yes. I know a lot of things have changed. Well, we're moving. I think we're going to move to Texas, and I just got my Burning Man tickets in the mail, so that's exciting for this year. We have a theme camp out there, so I think I started going around 2004. Things are just moving right along. It seems like we're constantly watching things evolve, I guess, just not in our lives, but in the lives of other people around us. And it's fun. It's a new season.
Are all the things that we hear about Burning Man true? I mean, we've heard a lot of things about this festival. Is that really what it is, what we hear? Or is that urban legend?
It's really different. It's a creative space, I think. That's the way I look at it anyway. There's just a lot of people that are just incredibly creative. They do their art. They have art projects that they put out on what they call the playa, which means beach. And it's just a gathering of around, I think it's up to around 70,000 people or more this year. You have every kind of person who wants to just go out and live a free expression lifestyle for around 10 days. We actually have a theme camp there where we do dream interpretation. We do a lot of spirit work. We just try and breathe hope and life and give direction and help people to kind of get grounded again for the next phase of their lives. And so it's a hodgepodge. I don't know what you've really heard. I think we've all heard different things, but it's quite an exciting 10 days.
Yeah, well, we've heard some
in the heat.
We've heard a lot of different things about Burning Man, and have made JV and myself really think we should probably attend at some point.
Yeah, it's a survival thing. You have to really make sure that you pack your food, water. It'll leave no trace, which means that whatever you bring in, you take out, including garbage. And you make friends with your neighbors, and just people can really kind of let their hair down a little bit and see how they. I think a lot of ways it gives a space for a connected freedom where everyone's on the same playing field, and there's nobody that's more superior than someone else. At least that's the way it's been when I've been out there, and you get to meet a lot of really incredible people.
Cindy, is your attendance there? I know you go, and I know you do dream interpretation while you're there, but is it a business trip for you, or is it more of a personal journey?
Yeah, it's both. I have a nonprofit corporation, so we kind of go out as a group of just healers and seers and people who have a lot of different gift mix, where we can invite our guests in, there's no money exchanged. Everything is about gifting. It's about if we interpret a dream, someone may have made a piece of art that they carry around with them, and when we've had an encounter with them, or we've done some sort of spirit work with them, then they can give us a piece of art, or they can give us something that they feel is special to them, and so it's been a real fun. It's really actually been a great experience for me, because I've had my eyes open to a lot of real fun and creative people that we probably would have never met in the real world, where you have to put on an image, or you have to be a certain way, or you're working a job and you're expected to be a certain way. And so people are very free and open out there.
Well, it's more of a bartering thing, and that's kind of a neat concept to see done.
Cindy, let's
and everyone's really willing to help each other out. I mean, if you've got a flat tire on your bike, there's like 3 people all at once, just trying to pump up your tire or get you back on the road again. Everyone's very attentive to helping each other out, which is a great concept of community.
We've got a few minutes here before we have to go to break. I want to turn the discussion to actually what we were going to talk about, which is dreams and the interpretation of dreams. Tell us why it's important for us to understand dreams.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of information that can be given to us that we can work out in our night seasons, as well as receive messages from, I call him God, or I call him Creator, the one who put us together, about direction, about warnings, about being able to really get a grasp on some imminent things or things that are going on in our lives. So dreams are very, very valid. They're something that you can't make. I mean, we've talked before on our show about lucid dreaming, and I know when people do lucid dreaming, I'm not a fan so much of lucid dreaming, just because I think I want it to play out. I want it to just have its own language, and I want to be able to hear or see something that I can't control or manipulate or make it say something, or that it may not be saying. And so I am a fan of letting the dream present itself, sort of like a puzzle. And then when you wake up in the morning, you jot down what you can remember, and your mind will actually bring things back to remembrance, pieces of the puzzle that will come together. And if it's a really impacting dream, that's something that is for the now, for what you're walking through, what you're living through, you won't forget it. It is like branded on your spirit, on your heart, and you can't forget it. We've run into people who've had a dream 30 years ago, and they can recall it just as if they had it the night before. Well, so those kinds of dreams are just, you can't, you're not going to forget it. And then it has a hidden meaning. Some of them are layered. Some of them are for now. And then as you live another year, another piece of that dream will open up, and you'll see another side of it like you didn't see the first time you had it interpreted or remembered it. So it kind of follows you through life. It's really quite interesting.
Well, and a lot of times dreams, and I know we only got a short, about a minute here, but a lot of times dreams can kind of tell you a lot of personal information about somebody as well, too. Correct?
Yes.
So and that's why a lot of people are a little standoffish on sharing dream information, because they're worried that it might sort of give an inside look into them and their life. Correct?
Yeah, I'm a chronic optimist. So I always try and look on the other side. Every positive has a negative, and every negative has a positive. So if people think that they've had a negative dream and it's meant something bad, I usually look on the other side of that dream and go, well, then let's look at the possibilities of hope. Okay. And what could this possibly mean that would advance you in a good way forward? Okay. Usually once I've interpreted a dream for someone, and they've been a little bit skeptical about telling me the dream, but they see that it's got hope or life in it, now they're willing to tell me maybe a more personal dream, because they don't feel that they'll be violated, or they don't feel like it will just be thrown into a pot with other,
Gotcha.
Negative dreams, yeah.
All right, so we'll get into a lot more of that when we come back. You're listening to Jason and JV on Beyond Reality Radio. We'll be back after this.
Shortly, talking about dreams with our dream expert tonight, Cindy McGill. Cindy is the author of a book called What Your Dreams Are Telling You, Unlocking Solutions While You Sleep, and her website is cindymcgill.org. We encourage you to visit the website. Cindy, before we get into this too much more, your website has a lot of great information plus services and stuff. How do you recommend somebody navigate that? There's so much on there.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's going to take a little time, right? We have some videos of some of the places we've been, some of the dreams we've interpreted, but it also has, if people want my book, you can order it there. And I would just say, go on, take a look, browse around, see what you think is impacting. Once again, we try and take cameras with us whenever we go out. And, I'm a mom and a grandmother, and I have a real heart for the upcoming generation, the younger kids, and, just young people too. So I would just say browse around, see what you see, and see if anything, hits your heart or gives you hope or gives you something that you can hold on to.
And make sure you go to cindymcgill.org, not .com, because I went to .com and it's all Oriental writing. I had no idea what
right. We're trying to get
no
that
idea what was going on
there. I don't know
there.
what happened with that. Yeah,
yeah, it is .org. So, Cindy, when people have dreams, sometimes they remember them, sometimes they don't. But some people have recurring dreams. Is there anything unique or particularly important or more important about a recurring dream versus any other run-of-the-mill dream?
Yes. I think that a recurring dream is like a knock on the door. It's like a continuing knock, like I'm knocking again, I'm telling you again, I'm giving you another insight, or I'm helping you not excuse this dream. In other words, it's like it's wanting to get your attention or wanting you to pay attention. What could this possibly mean? Why am I still having it? It goes along also with the season of life that we're in. So if you're having a recurring dream, it usually comes in waves. You'll have it 2 or 3 or 4 times, and possibly it's during a month season, maybe longer. But I like to look at, well, what are you walking through right now? What is it that your life is all about at this moment? And why are you having a knock on the door all the time? What is that knock trying to get you to open up to? So I pay close attention to recurring dreams, and often when we're at places like Burning Man, Sundance Film Festival, any of the events that we go to, we ask people randomly on the street, have you had a dream you can't forget, or one that you've had more than one time? Because those are the most important. Those will be the ones that contain a message that needs to be unlocked.
When you get clients that ask you to interpret their dreams, how do you start with the questioning and the, I guess, probing to really understand what's happened? Do you just allow them just to tell the dream and then you interpret, or do you ask questions and guide them through remembering what they dreamt?
Yeah, usually I'll just listen. And while I'm hearing the dream, I actually have a picture that forms in my mind. So I can dream the dream with them, so to speak. And there will be a few questions, like, for instance, if you have a dream that you're driving a car and you're in control, basically, I want to know, is it a car that you currently own? If it's a car you currently own, it has to do with now. If it's a car that you don't own or you've never had that kind of car, then it has other significance. And if it's a car that you once owned, it means a past thing, something that you were looking now at a time when you did have that kind of car. So those are questions that I would want to find out, like to get my time frame on this thing, like what, how was this affecting you, or what are we living in? In other words, what are we looking at? Is it a now thing? Is it something from the past, or is it something that has significance, like a convertible? It gives you an openness. You have an open, you don't have any lid on you at all. You have freedom for any kind of, a new, expression or something to impact you. You've got no hindrance. You've got no ceiling. You've got nothing. So those would make a difference in the hearing of a dream and interpreting the dream.
So, and it's something as little as that you're able to tell if it's talking about something that they're holding on to from the past or the present or the future, a little tiny thing like that. That's interesting. Actually, yep. JV and I were talking a little while ago about a dream that I just recently had, and it was weird because I've never had the type of dream before, but it started off, I was in a hot air balloon, and then all of a sudden I was in one of those little, like, one-person seat airplane things flying around. and it kept on going to things like that. Now I don't own a hot air balloon. I don't own a one seat. So
right, you don't own a
and it
a
almost
little single engine. Yeah,
exactly. So it almost made it confused me because I had no idea why something like that why a dream like that would just show up.
Yeah, I think it has to do with creativity, number one, because you're in a hot air balloon, which is really colorful and it's fun. It's also a risk. You're a risk taker anyway. But also, it has to do with you personally because there's not anyone else in there. You are in a single passenger vehicle, but you're also going to new heights, or you're ascending into something that is quite interesting or different, but it's a personal journey for you. And so while it looks as if it could be really fun in the beginning, a hot air balloon, it's adventurous, it's very colorful. It gives you a new experience or a thrill that you didn't have, and then it changes into a single engine or a single seat flying apparatus of some sort. It has to do with you ascending, like there's something of a new level of understanding and possibly creativity, and maybe a new open door for you that is it's building on in other words, you're going above where you are right now. So it's going to be good. That's a good journey.
That actually might explain a lot, huh, JP?
It might. We can't talk about it, though. Not yet, anyway.
Right.
Cindy, dreams are healing. I know that. But why are they healing? Why and how do dreams heal us?
Well, a number of ways. First off, you're not really you're not having those anxiety thoughts. Okay, so when you're sleeping, you're at rest. You're pretty much in a kind of a vulnerable place. Okay, so it can be healing in that it's exposing some things, or giving you ideas, or giving you some pulling the curtain back and showing you what's really going on. Like I just listened to or watched the YouTube video with James Corden with Carpool Karaoke with Paul McCartney.
Yeah, I watched that.
It was really good.
I watched it last night. It was really, really good, yeah.
Did you hear where he said, it was when he was younger, I think in the 60s, Paul McCartney said that his mother, who had passed away, actually, Paul McCartney was in a time in his life when he just felt like things were just out of control, or he was having some struggles. And his mother, he said, came to him in a dream and basically said, "Let it be." And he decided to write a song about "Let It Be." And everything in his life, he said, began to work out. Like it was wisdom.
That's right.
In fact, he said, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And so that was a healing right there. That's one of your healing dreams, where he stopped striving and struggling and trying to figure things out. He just took the advice of his mom during that time in that dream, and the song also became a hit. So
he got the best of all worlds there, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got the healing and the hit song out of it.
Yeah, I got a song out of it. It was a hit. I mean, so...
Yeah, we're going to take a break here, Cindy. Again, the phone lines are open at 844-687-7669 if you'd like to discuss a dream that you've been having. I know last time we've had some people that called talking about some very, what may be considered disturbing dreams at the time, and they were recurring, and I remember having that conversation. So, again, the number's 844-687-7669.
So if you got a question for us or our guest, Cindy McGill, about dreams, give us a shout. You'll listen to Jason and JV, Beyond Reality Radio. We'll be back after this.
The lines are open if you want to join our discussion about dreams, or you want to share a dream that you had, maybe get an opinion from our guest, Cindy McGill. She's a dream interpreter. The website is cindymcgill.org, and her book is called What Your Dreams Are Telling You, Unlocking Solutions While You Sleep. Cindy, can dreams actually unlock solutions? Can they solve problems for us?
Yes, they can.
That's the short answer.
And in the book, in the book I talk about different people who've had experiences where they've been in a work situation, and they couldn't figure out a solution to, like I think there was even one about an IBM machine or something like that years ago, and everyone had tried to come in and fix this thing, and someone had a dream about a screw that was laying down on a metal platform, and they went in the next day to work and took the machine apart, and there was that screw laying on that little metal thing. They put the thing back in, and the whole machine worked again. It was just that kind of thing. So, yes, there are times when you can solve situations, or you'll be given a download of wisdom, or like my friend who had a dream where he had a reoccurring dream where all of his teeth fell out on the left side of his mouth. And he was really concerned. And it was funny because he didn't really think he didn't think that it meant anything. He was kind of mocking me a little bit. He's a hairdresser. And he had a dream, and it was so real. The dream was so real that all of his teeth fell out, that he was going to get up at 3 a.m. and call me because it freaked him out that bad. And the next day, though, in the morning, he did call, and I said, well, you might want to check. It just means that you're losing your ability to break down details. Something's going on, important decision, whether it's signing contracts or something like this. You need to get more information because it's a warning dream to tell you that you're in danger of swallowing something whole. So he did go back over. He was opening another shop in town, and he went back over the contract, and they found a $50,000 loophole. He would have been out $50,000. Wow. So it did unlock situations while he slept, and in the way of teeth falling out. So, yeah, it's really great, actually. It's fun to put it, I call it kind of, you put another set of eyes on it. Mm-hmm. You've got your own thoughts. You're wrapped up in the emotion of your life. You are wrapped up in whatever situation you might be in, and you bring in someone like myself or another dream interpreter, and we can listen to the dream and possibly see something completely different and helpful that will unlock a solution. It will give you an answer. It will prevent you from making a huge mistake, or it will tell you to go ahead and take the risk. So those are the solutions to life.
Let's try to fit one of these listener calls in here. This is Eva calling in from Kansas. Hey, Eva, welcome to the program.
Hi.
Hey, welcome to the show.
You want to share a dream with us?
Yes, I had one several years ago when my husband was alive. I worked on a committee with a gentleman, a well-known gentleman, on the Convention Bureau, and we had a business relationship. That was it. And one night, it was like he came to the house. I mean, this was vivid. I mean, he had on khaki pants and a plaid shirt and touchy-feely. And he said, he came in and he said, shook my husband's hand, and he said, I really want to thank you for the friendship because I'm going to be leaving in about 5 weeks. And my husband watched the paper, and it was about 5 weeks later, it was in October. The full name of the Wichita Eagle was so-and-so has passed away. And
did you say he passed away?
Yeah. He came, and, I mean, he told us, I mean, I told my husband in the morning that Sam came to see us, and that he gave Richard a pat on the back and a hug, and he said he was really grateful for our friendship, and I have no reason why. I didn't tell his wife or anything like that, but sure enough, he was gone in 5 weeks.
Yeah. And you got your business because you were in business with this man, and you were able to get things resolved business-wise before this happened? Is that what it was?
He was just a customer, and for the county, and for Wichita.
Yeah. I think there's a couple things. Of course, you got what we call a foresight. You were able to see things before they happen, which is a gift that's resident on the inside of you. It probably is. You're going to have more dreams like that if you haven't already, about future things or things that could happen or will happen, or maybe you've dreamed them and they've already, played out just the way you saw. And I think that I've run into a number of people like you who do have dreams about certain things, and then within that length of time in the dream, things do happen just the way they dreamed it out. And my advice is pay attention to those dreams, because you're being given some insight or some. It's almost like you can see the pathway a little bit more advanced, and it's a gift. So it identifies a gift that is in you, resident, and I believe that it will help. And because you paid attention to it, it's sad, of course, that the man passed away or in that length of time, but it seems as if you were getting a heads up. There's some changes coming. There will be this man as a customer will not be accessible to you in that length of time. And I don't think it was your responsibility. I'll just take that off you, that you needed to say anything or tell anyone. I think that was for your benefit to know. But I believe that, you'll also, it's awakening something in you. And a lot of people are born with a gift like that, where they can see things ahead of time. And I've had so many people tell me, I dreamed, of.
Let's get into that. Yeah, Cindy, let's get into that on the other side of the break. Eva, thank you for the call. We'll take more of your phone calls on the other side of the break at 844-687-7669.
All right, you listen to Jason and JV, Beyond Reality Radio. We'll be back after this.
Social or not. But our guest is Cindy McGill. She's a dream interpreter. The website, if you want to get more information about Cindy, is cindymcgill.org. Her book is called What Your Dreams Are Telling You, Unlocking Solutions While you sleep. And Cindy, I want to revisit Eva's call from before the break, and you said that it was a bit of a precognitive dream, and that not everybody has that ability. Is that something, in your estimation, that comes from some kind of divine source? Is it just a psychic type sixth sense, or is there something else to it?
I think it comes from a divine source. I think that we're wired, put together supernaturally. And, the psyche's always going to play into it, but I just feel like that kind of important information, like she shared about in 5 weeks, I'm not going to be here anymore, that kind of thing. I feel like it's what we call a prophetic gift. It's something that people can be born with, but it's also something that I'm going to go so far as to say, that God warns people and tells people things to come. And, I've run into so many people who didn't recognize or realize that it was actually coming from a divine source. They felt like they were scared. Some of them didn't even want to go to sleep, or they were afraid they'd have a dream like that. But they just had a gift. They have something that works on the inside of them, and I believe that it's activated by a divine source and gives them information and gives them a foresight, like I said, and kind of a window into the future. I do believe in God, and I also believe that there's no time in heaven. So sometimes people can see things way ahead of time, and then they connect with the giver of the dream, and it makes it more powerful. It works better. If you connect your gift with the giver of the gift, it works better. That's my approach. That's my conviction, and that's kind of where I go with it. I'm always double listening. I'm listening to not just the dream itself, but I'm listening to really the one who put them together, and why is this message coming at this time? So I feel like there's always hope. I feel like people have a future. I feel like people have the ability, and we should have a right to live very fulfilled lives and very exciting lives. And I think I appreciate what you said about the technology and about the young people, especially on some of the computer games and things like that. It's really disturbing because they're being conditioned in their mind about what they believe is reality, and we're losing sight of the fact that we're all coexisting on the same planet, and we need to begin to find ways to bridge gaps and get along and to have the best intentions toward one another. And instead of the violence and all the stuff that's going on and the hatred.
Let me ask. Let me add this. One of our listeners was asking a question, and they wanted to know if there's any meaning behind dreaming about having to kill a loved one because they're sick.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's probably not from the right source. I believe that that's really not our call. And I understand that sometimes people are in a suffering position, and there have been, people who feel like it would be better if they like doctor-assisted suicide, that kind of thing, or helping someone end it so that they're not in pain. That's really not our call, I don't think. I feel like we're overstepping. We're coming more into a God place where we really don't belong. I feel like there's levels of comfort. There's healing available. There are really, I think that we can get ourselves, convince ourselves of taking kind of a God complex. Well, I'm just going to take over. I'm just going to end this. And whether it's for the benefit of the person who's suffering or whether it's for your own, being done with, or a chapter of your life or something like that.
Yeah, and I understand that, Cindy, but beyond the personal feelings on it, a dream sometimes is coming from a place that's beyond that. So what would the dream be telling this individual who's dreaming it?
Yeah, I think there's dreams that come from both sources. They come from from a God source, and they also come from an evil source. And I would have to examine that. I would want to. I would say that it's probably not the right voice. That's my opinion.
All right.
I would just say that, I just think that, once you step into taking the life of another person through a dream because you feel so strongly about it, I would really step back and not take action on something like that. Just because I just don't think it's our place. I think. Yeah.
I could totally understand that. They were just asking the question, so in the chat room. So I just wanted to pass it by because a lot of times, something you have a dream about, it has nothing to do with your intentions or your thoughts or that you're actually thinking about doing this to the individual. Sometimes, a lot of times in dreams, things happen and you sit there and wake up and you're like, I would have never done that. Why did that come to me?
Right.
And it makes you wonder why you're getting that impression or why you're having a dream about something like that.
I think too that because you are sleeping and you're vulnerable, like we talked about before, when you're in a dream state, seeds of deception or things could be planted in your mind about certain things that really, came from a negative place. They didn't come from a real good place. And because you had a dream and it was so strong and you think, oh my gosh, I just kind of, this is what I feel. I feel like we all have the responsibility, our own self, to guard our own heart and to really be more on the life side of things and so when you have a dream like that, I think there's sometimes just seeds that can start to be planted, and if they're watered, anything that you pay attention to or nurture is going to grow, whether it's good or bad. And yes, I do believe that there are false dreams, or there's dreams that can come that aren't from a directional source or from a divine source in a good way. And I think that, there's good and evil in the world and in the spirit, and I think that could possibly be from an evil place.
Okay, so you're under the belief system that when you're sleeping, you are vulnerable to possible, negative type entities actually feeding you information to try to see how far they're able to push you or manipulate you.
Yes, and you find that true in children when they have night terrors. It's a conditioning thing, I think. I think that they come in when they're young and they try and terrorize them, and they try and make them scared, or they plant seeds, or they begin to give them ideas or things that just aren't their destiny. It's not their purpose. It's not what they're meant for. And I've interviewed numbers of children who've had very scary, real terrifying type dreams, and those are just not dreams that you want to nurture. In other words, that's not your blueprint. That's not what you're made for. So then it produces a seed of fear on the inside of children, and then they begin to live that fear, and they're afraid of everything. So I try to encourage parents when, I usually interpret dreams with the parent or a parent there, and I'll try and encourage the parent to present a positive, time before the child goes to bed, so that these kinds of thoughts can't be, I guess, impacting the kid. I know there's a number of people who've had children with night terrors, and I just think it's a tactic. I just think it's a really negative tactic of an evil thing to try and terrorize, or trying to make something really, take a grip of a child, and so that they don't know what to do with it. They're just young.
Cindy, we're going to run out of time here. I'm sorry to interrupt. We're going to run out of time, and I want to squeeze one more call in here before we have to take a break.
Yeah.
So let's jump to David in South Carolina. Hey, David, welcome to the show.
Hey, I have a question. I have a 6-year-old, and one morning he woke up, and I said, "What are you doing, baby?" He said, "I'm making a dream book." What would bring that on?
That's really a good question. And dream books are great for children. I know a number of people and parents who actually can train up their children, so they can get perspective about how that child is, what they're meant to do in life by the child's dreams. I know a parent who actually parents their child according to their dreams, not exclusively, but they use that as part of their rearing for that child. It gives the parent insight into some things that, a lot of kids have dreams when they're really little about, I want to be a fireman, or I want to be a nurse, or I want to do, and it has to do with human services. It has to do with helpful things. And that's just their makeup. That's their DNA. That's who they are. That's their innocence and their fun. They want to help out. And so I know parents that actually parent their children in part from the dreams. So I would encourage it.
Okay.
David,
Thank you.
David, just a quick clarification on your question. Were you asking that because you don't know how your child got the idea to create that, to want to create that dream book?
Yeah,
it just came
the
out of nowhere?
only thing he puts in it is stick people. And when you ask him, he said, "I see them in my dreams."
Well, listen.
Did you say stick people?
We're going to hold stick people. We're going to hold David on over for the break. We're actually going to have to take a couple of quick breaks here together because we went long in the segment. But this is a very interesting question and a very interesting discussion.
Yeah, so if you have a question about your dreams, give us a call and speak with our guest, Cindy McGill, at 844-687-7669. Again, toll free at 844 888-687-7669. You're listening to Jason JV Beyond Reality Radio. We'll be back after this.
Before the break, we were talking with David in South Carolina. And David, we just want clarification here. This is going to be a very quick segment, so you got about a minute. But your child, 6-year-old child, was waking up telling you that they needed to write in or create a dream book. And the only thing they're putting in this dream book is stick figures?
Yes, and then he'll scribble them out.
So he puts the stick figures into the book and then scribbles over them with whatever he's here. Is it a he or she?
She. I'm sorry, he.
He. Whatever he's writing, he scribbles over the figures, and that's all he does.
Yep.
Interesting. All right, we're going to get Cindy's interpretation of that here. We've got again about a minute, Cindy, and if we need to continue the conversation, we can carry it over to the other side of the break.
Okay. I just would like to know if all the stick figures look the same or if they have different aspects when he writes them down or he is expressing himself.
They all look the same.
They all look the same. Okay. I think what's happening is he's probably coming alive, again, awakening to that there are messages in dreams. And he may be a little bit afraid. You might ask him, why do you scribble these out? In other words, I like to champion creativity. I like to champion what people are how their processes go. So I would maybe have a conversation with him and say, yes, let's begin to put this book together and show it to me and help me understand what you think or how this came across to you. And why are you scribbling these out after you're drawing them? In other words, because I think it just could be the beginning. It's like stick figures to me speak of just simple, like if a person has become an artist, they're going to start with stick figures or something that helps them the best they can to describe what they see. So I would encourage that. But I would also want to know why do you scribble them out? Like, what's going on here? And begin to take note of the answer from him.
David, thank you very much for the phone call and sharing that with us. And we'll get to the rest of your phone calls on the other side of the break. So stay on hold through the break.
All right, you're listening to Jason JV Beyond Reality Radio. We'll be back after this.
Tomorrow night. Tonight we're talking with Cindy McGill. Cindy is a dream interpreter. Her website is cindymcgill.org, and her book is called What Your Dreams Are Telling You, Unlocking Solutions While You Sleep. And I know there are links to purchasing the book on your website. Cindy, is it available anywhere else?
Yeah, it's on Amazon, and I think you can get it at Barnes & Noble. And I think that there's also a ebook or a downloadable to your Kindle or that kind of thing. So, I think that's still there too. So you can get it several different ways.
Great. All right, let's jump to the phone lines, try to get a few of these calls in before we run out of time. This is Tammy. Tammy's calling from our neighbor to the north, Canada. Hey, Tammy, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Awesome.
So what's on your mind, Tammy?
Alrighty. So here's my dream I had. I was probably about, I want to say 11, 12 years old, and it was a reoccurring dream. We lived in an apartment block at the time, and in my dream, I was in one apartment, and then 2 doors down was another apartment, and I was always afraid to open up the door, and I would open it up just a crack, and I would hear, like, demons and, just, like, really bad vibes. And I told my mom about this, and she said, I would just be terrified, but I always wanted to open up the door. So she says, you know what, you can take control of your dream. You can open up that door. So I did. I opened up the door, and I started slaying these demons. And as I did, white light started shooting out of them. Fast forwarding now to the present, I'm having kind of sort of the same dream where I was being attacked by demons, and I was praying to God, like, for help, and I seen my holy water, and I couldn't reach it, and it was just, like, at the tip of my fingers, and I woke up feeling the exact same way that I did when I was, the same dream that I had, like, when I was younger. So it was a little unnerving.
Yeah. And you say you were about 11 or 12 when you had this dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's my suggestion. I believe that if you've had the ability to open the door, you've also got the ability to close the door. And what I think will happen is, I would suggest that you begin to make conscious effort in your life to begin to close doors that are not benefiting you, that are not giving you a quality life. I believe what you don't feed will starve, and you can close a door and be rid of that experience, of curiosity, of anything that may have tried to enter in at that time in your life to begin to torment you or persuade you, in some negative ways. So, again, once you've had the authority to open the door, you've also got the authority to close it. And that's where I think you're at. And I feel like, I don't know too much about, reaching for a holy water, that kind of thing, but I do believe that you kind of take back your life. You know what I'm saying? Like you begin to take back the authority over your own existence, your own future, your quality of life, and basically turn your back on things that have you feel that have could have entered in at that time to torment you. 11 and 12 years old is a growth spurt. I kind of liken it to when your teeth come in. I know that sounds funny, but you get 6-year molars, you get 12-year molars, you get wisdom teeth, right? And so when at those particular times of your natural life also have to do with your emotional life, your spiritual life, and things like that, that's when you're in a shift. And then again, when you're 18, when you're 21, when you're 28. And so there's just some numbers that over the years I've just kind of used as my own guideline or compass. And I believe that, now you're older and you can definitely shut the door. So
thanks for the call, Tammy. Yeah. We appreciate you sharing that with us. Let's go to Lelania calling in from our chat room, actually. Hey, Lelania, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll try to make it quick because I know you have some other calls on hold. This dream happened probably about 25 years ago, and it's kind of always stuck with me simply because I can remember the dream in such vivid detail. And I don't remember my dreams. I never remember my dreams. I have such a hard time with it. But this particular one, I was in a small gift shop, and I was walking around looking for something, just kind of, poking through all the stuff, and this old lady walks up to me and puts something in my hand, and she goes, "This is what you're looking for." And so I opened up my hand. It was kind of like a smooth piece of wood that was like varnished and, cleaned up really nice. And on the flip side of it was a gold-embedded Eye of Ra. Now, I have to say, at this time, I had no idea what the Eye of Ra was. I actually had to research it to find out what it was. And it seems like ever since then, it's like I'm always looking for that. I know it's probably symbolic, but I've never been able to understand, what was it trying to tell me that I needed?
Yeah, I think it's once again, you're in a gift shop, so I think it has to do with a curiosity of your own gifting or what you're looking for in terms of something that would, gifts are always treasures. There's something that you want to take home or it's important to you or special. I believe that you were being awakened at that time. You said it was about 25 years ago. Is that correct? That you had the dream?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah. And I think at that time it was a spiritual journey for you. I think you were looking for something, and I think that something older, an ancient or some sort of an ancient voice or an ancient presence was presenting you with something that gave you temporary satisfaction. However, I do believe that as you search for your guidance, eyes represents guidance, and I believe that it will begin to unfold to you in a pure way, a truthful way, and I believe that you will begin to be enlightened and awakened for guidance or for sight, spiritual sight. And it will give you clarity. There will be, as we grow in the natural, there are things that we embraced when we were younger that we no longer embrace. There are things that we've learned. And I think on a spiritual journey, it's exactly the same way. You get connected at one point, but as you grow, you find out things that you will and will not allow to guide you in your life. And I think it's your own spiritual journey, and I believe that truth is going to make you aware and give you insight into how you're growing and what your truth is and how you're going to live it out.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks for the call, Elenia. We appreciate you calling in. Cindy, we have just a few minutes left here. When we go to sleep at night, do we have the ability to steer or guide our dreams in any way?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, lucid dreaming. You can consciously or subconsciously decide that, you want to, to make it have a different ending, or to, to decide that people are good at it. People are good at lucid dreaming. And it is a directed dream that even though you're in a vulnerable state, you're in a subconscious state, you still can take control, right? And so, I don't really recommend that. The only time I would ever say that is if you're having fear-based dreams, where you're having dreams where you're being chased, where you're being bullied, where you're being pushed around, you're being stabbed or knifed, we've heard it all. Turn and face it. If you're going to lucid dream on that one. Turn and face it, and command it to leave you alone. And 99% of the time that I have told people that, and they've done it, that dream stops. They no longer have a chase dream. They no longer have a tormenting dream. They no longer, and they'll tell me, I don't have that dream anymore, because they turned and faced their fear. They commanded it to stop, and it did. And so in that regard, lucid dreaming is good. Or you can, I would recommend it. I'll put it that way. If it's a guidance dream, if it's giving you guidance, if it's giving you insight or something, we by nature want to take control. We just want to, because we do that. We govern our own lives. We make our own choices. We exert ourselves in ways that we think are going to make us the best or benefit us in the best way. But in a guidance dream, if you allow the dream to play out, it will give you hidden secrets, or it will give you things you didn't see in the natural, in your daily life. And those kinds of dreams, I recommend you just to allow, kind of drop your fear, drop all your control issues, and allow the guidance to begin to give you insight or a pathway or illuminated path that will help you through your life and give you things you didn't see. We are all short-sighted in our daily life. We only see certain things. There are hidden things that are going on all around us that we don't know. And so I really encourage people to allow your dream life to become a source of information for you. Once again, I think they're seasonal. I think when you're going through something, you're going to dream more. I know that usually my dreams come in about 3 weeks. I have 3 weeks of solid dreams, and then I'll go for 2 weeks or a month and not have anything real significant to my life. And it'll be a season that I happen to be in that I needed that information. So
Well, let me ask this. When you were just saying a minute ago about standing and facing your fears in your dream, now the more you do that, do you become stronger when you do that more often?
Yeah, and you build confidence. It's like it's kind of like, overcoming the hurdles that have tripped us up all through our lives. Certain things, certain triggers, things that jeopardized us, and usually it starts early on when you're a kid. Something will be said to you, or something will happen to you that is a trigger, and it brings you right back to that. It's like a kryptonite, It takes you right down. And so, if you're having a being chased dream, I've got two theories on that. One is that you can stand and face your fear and command it to stop. The other thing is that very thing that's trying to chase you may look like a troubling problem, but it will actually propel you into your future. It makes you run. It makes you go forward. It forces you to go forward in life. And I think, we are complex but majestic beings on this earth, and we have been given so many opportunities and tools to be overcomers and to get over our hurdles, and really, like your dream that you had where you're flying and all of a sudden you're going higher and you're in an aircraft you've never been in before, some sort of apparatus, and it's taking you into new heights. But you wouldn't have probably done that if you hadn't achieved certain things on a lower level.
One last question, and we're going to run out of time. One last question, Cindy. People often talk about visitation dreams, particularly from loved ones that have passed on. Is it your belief those dreams are, again, spiritual in nature, or are these something happening in our subconscious that's a part of the grieving process?
Yeah, I think it's both. And I don't think that it's necessarily the person who died. I think it's not necromancy or anything like that. I think that it's the memory of the person who's passed on and the wisdom they carried or the influence they had in your life while they were on the earth, and they're giving you a message, or they're giving you something repeated, something to you that they said when they were here. And I think it does have a spiritual element to it. So it's both. It's an emotional kind of a letting go and a part of a grieving process, but it's also maybe spiritual in nature, where you are brought to mind, say your grandfather comes to you in a dream, and you remember, and it's just as clear as a bell. It looks like they're standing there. It's their body, their voice, everything that they had when they were on the earth, but it's the influence or the message or something that they did or had a place in your life that they're giving you some counsel, or they're assuring you, or they're giving you, some direction for. I kind of think of it like wisdom, So I think it's both. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's both.
Cindy, we've had a great conversation, a great time. Appreciate you joining the program again, and hope you're going to come back. And one more time, give your website and where people can get a hold of the book.
Yeah, it's cindymcgill.org, and you can order my book there, and we'll be happy to get it out to you. I also have a documentary that we actually showed at the Sundance Film Festival called Dreams, a Documentary, and it's a downloadable documentary that you can look at. It's actual dreams on the street. So we've interpreted them and then put them into film form, and it's a fun little piece to watch. It gives you a lot of insight. So visit the website. I'm glad to come back on your show. I love being with you guys.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Cindy. We look forward to talking to you again at some point. Thanks for coming on tonight.
All right. Sure.
Have a great night. All right, so we're going to
see you later. Okay.
All right.